All right, good morning. We are here for initial appearances. Today is September 29th, 2019. My name is Judge Weiss. And if you can all give your appearance, please, for Osceola IAs. Why don't we start with our Assistant State Attorney?
Yes, Herschel Spangler on behalf of the state.
And for the Public Defender's Office?
Mona Abram from the Office of the Public Defender.
Okay, and who do we have from PTR?
Officer Pat Hill on behalf of PTR.
All right, thank you. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start with Brian Barrios Rivera. Does he require?
Your Honor, if we can.
Does he require an interpreter?
What was that?
I was just going to ask if he requires an interpreter.
He does, but we do have a client that we would like to bump up on the top of the list. It's Michael White.
Okay, hang on.
We're calling you first. Okay. All right.
All right, hang on one sec. Yep, I have one near the end. Okay, let's go ahead and call up Michael White.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, can you state your name, please?
My name is Michael White.
All right, Mr. White, I have that you're being held based on two charges. Number one is a possession of cocaine, bond set at
That is bullshit. All
$2,500.
of this is bullshit.
Okay, sir, my job today is to tell you what you've been accused of. You're welcome to challenge these charges at a separate time. Possession of cocaine, bond set at $2,500, and a second charge of possession and use of drug paraphernalia with a bond set at $500 for a total of $3,000. Court does find probable cause to support these charges, and the court will ask you, are you looking to be represented by a public defender?
Your Honor, I do believe that appointing the public defender in this case would be appropriate. I do have competency concerns, and I am limited on what I can look up, but if you could have the PD in that courtroom look up Mr. White
She's actually not
by
here.
name.
Yeah, she's actually not
Okay.
in the courtroom right now, but I'll go ahead and appoint the public defender provisionally, and you can just deal with the paperwork later, okay? All right, so if he wants counsel, then I'll appoint the public defender provisionally, and then y'all can go ahead and take this up with the assigned judge, okay?
Okay, I'm sorry. Can I have the bond amount?
Yes, ma'am. Bond is $2,500 for the first count and $500 for the second count, for a total of $3,000.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, so next up, we're going to have, we'll start with Mr. Barrios Rivera.
Did he address the battery?
I don't know.
Your Honor, did you address the battery charge?
I did. For the last one? Oh, no, the only thing that I have is, I have, the only affidavit I have, hang on. Oh, okay. So there's a separate one, there's a whole separate case on the battery charge. That apparently was yeah. So I did find a separate one on the battery charge. Do you want to inform him that the court found probable causes to the battery charge, and I'll leave the bond at $500?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Separate case. Okay. Brian Barrios Rivera.
It appears he refused, Your Honor.
Okay, why don't you go ahead and reset him for tomorrow? And if he refuses tomorrow, then we can waive it. So this is for tomorrow. Let me just put it back in. All right, we have Jessica Camacho Velez, and I believe we need a Spanish interpreter. Hey, do we have the Spanish interpreter with us?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. You want to go ahead and swear her in?
Yes, have you been sworn in today?
No, I have not.
Okay, will you swear to interpret from Spanish to English, and English to Spanish, the testimony she will receive today?
I do, to the best of my ability. Flavia Rodriguez, State Certified Court Interpreter.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Can you tell us your name, please?
Señora, díganos su nombre, por favor. Jessica Camacho.
All right, ma'am, I have a charge here of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, currently being held on a zero bond. It's associated with a domestic violence incident. I've reviewed the information and do find probable cause.
Señora, tengo ante mí una acusación de intimidación calificada con arma. Usted ha quedado detenida sin derecho a fianza por ahora. Es una acusación por un incidente de violencia doméstica. Me he leído el affidavit y determino que existe indicio de criminalidad para sustentar la acusación.
All right, PTR, I understand you had the opportunity to speak with the victim.
Yes, Your Honor. I made contact with the alleged victim, and he is requesting contact. And for the record, Ms. Camacho has no prior arrest.
Me habían comunicado que la libertad provisional había podido establecer contacto con la víctima. Sí, su señoría, hemos podido establecer contacto con la presunta víctima y él ha solicitado que se le permita tener contacto. Y además que conste en actas que la señora Camacho no tiene antecedentes.
All right.
And, Your Honor,
Yes.
the victim stated that he felt that alcohol could have been a contributing factor.
Okay, thank you. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and appoint the public defender as requested, and I'm going to ask the state whether you'd like to inquire.
Yes, Your Honor. Unfortunately, the victim is not present, so we cannot inquire about what, I know what they have said, the victim said. So given the factual basis of this case, the state is going to ask for a no contact order with the victim. We would not object, though, to a reasonable bond.
Okay, PTR, do we know why the victim is not here? Did they provide any information to you about that?
Yes, Your Honor, he didn't have a caretaker for his son.
Okay. Can you ask Ms. Camacho Velez whether she has any family that she could temporarily stay with? Family
Your
or
Honor, if I
friends?
may, on behalf of
You may, go ahead.
Mrs. Camacho, she has no prior arrests. The facts alleged in this case are minimal at best. PTR has contacted her husband, and he wants contact. He wants her to be able to reside in the residence. They do have children in common as well. If we could just set a monetary bond in this case with a no hostile contact condition, I believe that would be appropriate.
Your Honor, may I please have a moment to interpret everything that has been said so far?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Parece ser que el alcohol estuvo relacionado con el incidente que ocurrió. El defensor público ha dicho que se ha establecido contacto con la víctima. Se le pregunta a la fiscalía cuál es su opinión. La fiscalía plantea que como la víctima no está presente, no existe la posibilidad de interrogarla. Por lo tanto, teniendo en cuenta los hechos del caso, se pide que se emita prohibición de contacto con la víctima y no tienen objeción a que se fije fianza. El juez ha preguntado a libertad provisional por qué la víctima no se encuentra presente para declarar. La víctima no se encuentra presente porque no tenía quien le cuidara al hijo. Se le le pregunta a la acusada cuál es la situación con el cuidador, el defensor público ha intervenido y ha dicho que teniendo en cuenta que ella no tiene antecedentes y que la libertad provisional ha contactado a la víctima y la víctima quiere tener contacto, quiere vivir en la misma casa y teniendo en cuenta que tienen hijos en común, se solicita que se fije una fianza razonable y que se emita simplemente prohibición de contacto hostil.
All right, thank you. I believe the state wants to state something.
Yes, Your Honor. No hostile contact can only be ordered in cases where the victim appears at the initial appearance and indicates that he or she is not afraid of the defendant and that they want the defendant to return home. We do not have that here from the victim. I understand that's what we're being told that the victim has relayed, but the victim is not here. Therefore, it is the state's position that a no contact order needs to be ordered in this case. Given the facts of the case, there is a child at the residence as well. The state would ask for a no contact order.
All right, so here's what I'm
Su
going
señoría.
to, go ahead and interpret, please.
Normalmente las órdenes de prohibición de contacto se emiten cuando la víctima comparece a la vista de primera instancia y declara que no tiene miedo del acusado y que desea regresar a la casa. En este caso, la víctima no está presente, no ha venido a declarar, por tanto, la Fiscalía solicita que se emita una prohibición de contacto teniendo en cuenta también los hechos del caso y el hecho de que hay un menor involucrado.
All right, so given the facts of the case, the court is going to issue a no contact order. Certainly that can be revisited before the assigned judge as soon as this week, if possible. But based on the information that I have, I'm going to, I'll issue a bond of $500. I'm going to require that, again, we have the no contact order, that she's not to use or possess any weapons or firearms, including any knives. If she has any, they must be turned over to law enforcement immediately upon release. And she can go back to the residence if they do reside together one time in order to obtain some of her belongings. And they'll have to be in separate residences. Again, this is a temporary situation based on the facts of these cases.
Teniendo en cuenta los hechos del caso, emitiré una orden de prohibición de contacto. Obviamente esto se puede revalorar con el juez al que se le asigne el caso en la próxima semana. Teniendo en cuenta la información que consta delante de mí, emitiré fianza de $500, se emitirá prohibición de contacto, se le prohíbe tener armas de fuego y esto incluye cuchillos. Si tiene alguno de estos artículos tendrá que entregarlos a las autoridades tan pronto sea puesta en libertad. Se le prohíbe regresar a la casa una única vez, si es que viven en la misma vivienda, a recuperar algunas de sus pertenencias y una vez más se le prohíbe residir en la misma casa. Todo esto será de manera temporal.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Gracias, señora.
Okay, why don't we take some of the other folks who need the interpreter? And I believe the next one that we have is Gabrielle Santiago. Can you state your name, please?
Señor, diga su nombre, por favor. Gabriel Santiago.
All right, Mr. Santiago, you are being held based on 3 charges. The first, possession of burglary tools with a bond set at $500. Secondly is burglary of an unoccupied vehicle, unarmed. Bond is set at $1,000. And the third is a petite theft, first offense. Bond is set at $250 for a total of $1,750. We did review the narrative and court finds probable cause to support the charges. I'll leave the bonds as is. I will appoint the public defender to represent the defendant. Go ahead, ma'am.
Señor, usted ha quedado detenido por 3 acusaciones. La primera es tenencia de instrumentos para cometer entrada ilícita con fines delictivos, por esa se fija una fianza de $500. La segunda es entrada ilícita con fines delictivos a un vehículo en el que no viajaba nadie sin estar armado, esas son $1,000. Y la tercera es hurto de menor cuantía, es una primera acusación, la fianza son $250. El total de sus 3 fianzas será $1,750. Se determina que existe indicio de criminalidad, se mantendrán las fianzas tal y como se habían fijado y se designa al defensor público para que les represente.
All right, and I understand that he's currently out on bail on case number 2019 MM 74270. And I'm going to bond on that case, and he can appear before the assigned judge with regard to that.
Además, me quedó entendido que él se encontraba libre bajo fianza por el caso 19MM7427. La fianza en ese caso se revocará y él tendrá que revalorar esto ante el juez al que se ha asignado ese caso.
And I would note that that's an Orange County case.
Hago constar que ese caso es del condado de Orange.
Your Honor, would it be possible to take no action on that case?
No, ma'am.
Su señoría, ¿sería posible que usted no tomara acción con respecto a ese caso? No, señora.
Okay, next we have, is it, which one? Who's the next one? Is it Renee Perez Molina? All right, state your name, please.
Señoría, su nombre, por favor. René Perez Molina.
Okay, sir, you're being held based on a charge of domestic battery by strangulation. The court has reviewed the narrative and finds probable cause to support the charge. Do you wish to be represented by a public defender?
Señor, usted ha quedado detenido por una acusación de agresión física por estrangulación. Es un caso de violencia doméstica. Este juzgado se ha leído la narrativa y se determina que existe indicio de criminalidad para sustentar la acusación. Señor, ¿usted desea que se designe al defensor público para que le represente?
I just need a yes or no because the paperwork that I have isn't completed.
Necesito que me responda sí o no, porque los documentos que tengo ante mí no están completos.
Ma'am, did he
Yes,
respond?
Your Honor, the mic was off.
Okay, thank you. All right, so the court will appoint the public defender to represent the defendant. Have we heard from the victim?
No, Your Honor, a detailed message was left, but I had no return call.
All right, given that I don't have any information other than what's on the face of this affidavit, I'm going to go ahead and I'll set the bond at, we'll set the bond at $500. Actually, I'm going to set the bond at $1,000 based on the prior DV. I'm going to require a no contact order with the victim. I'm going to require separate residences. He can go back one time with law enforcement to obtain any belongings. I'm also going to require that he not own or possess any weapons or firearms.
Se designa al defensor público para que represente al acusado. ¿Se ha establecido contacto con la víctima? No, se le dejó un mensaje detallado, pero no nos ha devuelto la llamada. Bien, teniendo en cuenta que la única información que tengo con respecto al caso es lo que consta en este affidavit, se fijará la fianza en cantidad de 500. No, perdón, se fijará en cantidad de 1.000, teniendo en cuenta que hay un caso anterior de agresión física. Además, se emite prohibición de contacto con la víctima, tendrán que vivir en viviendas separadas, se le permite regresar una única vez acompañado de las autoridades para recuperar sus pertenencias y se le prohíbe la tenencia de armas y de armas de fuego.
Okay. Thank you, sir. And can you, interpreter, can you inquire whether anybody else needs the Spanish interpreter?
Of course, Your Honor. Buenos días, se nos ciola en el área del público. ¿Hay alguna otra persona que necesite los servicios del intérprete al español? Y si es así, por favor, levante la mano.
No hands, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. All right, so let's go ahead and start with David Ifill.
Did he refuse?
Mr. Eiffel refused, Your Honor, but there are severe incompetency concerns in that case.
Okay, why don't you reset it for tomorrow and then and then the judge can make a determination as to whether they want to waive it tomorrow, okay?
Okay.
All right, thank you. Tunita Johnson?
Ms. Johnson also refused.
Okay, same reset for tomorrow. Catherine Mettayer? Hey, could you state your name, please?
Catherine Mater.
All right, ma'am, you're being held based on 3 charges. Number 1, possession of a controlled substance without a prescription. Bond set is $2,500. Number 2 is possession of a controlled substance without a prescription. Bond is set at $2,500. And third is possession and use of drug paraphernalia with a bond set at $500. The first charge involves fentanyl. The second one involves methamphetamine. Total bond is $5,500. I did review the narrative, and I do find probable cause on those charges. You are asking for a public defender. I will appoint the public defender to represent you. I do have another case involving 2018 CF 04367, where it appears that you're out on probation. And we'll go ahead and revoke the probation on that case. You'll be held at 0 on that case until such time that you appear before the assigned judge.
Yes, sir.
That'll be it. Thank you, ma'am. Tashawn Miller. You state your name, please.
Tashawn Miller.
All right, Mr. Miller, you are being held based on a violation of probation or community control. In case number 2018 CF 3041, you're being held on a 0 bond, and you'll be held until you appear before Judge Morgan with regard to the VOP. Thank you, sir. Now I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. I believe they're already on the case. All right, Milton Murray.
We're going to waive the reading of his charges, Your Honor.
You state your name, please.
Milton Murray.
All right, Mr. Murray, I do have here a warrant from the court where the assigned judge who issued the warrant has you being held at 0 bond for the 3 charges. You asking to be represented by the public defender, sir?
Yes, until I can get counsel.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and appoint the public defender to represent you. State, did you want to, do you have anything to add on this?
No, Your Honor, we would ask that the 0 bond remain in place.
All right. The public defender wish to speak?
Your Honor, I don't have the warrant in front of me, and I'm not sure that he is entitled to a bond on these charges, but however, if he is, I would request that bond be set.
State, is he entitled to a bond?
I do not believe he is entitled to the bond of the lower 2.
You mean on number 1?
It's in the 12.
No, but does the warrant itself say they ordered?
On number 1?
Yes.
Okay,
They're yes, Your Honor, because of the victim
right.
not entitled to it.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and leave the bond at 0, and certainly a bond hearing can be called up before the assigned judge. Thank you. All right, next we have Denise Rosa. you state your name, please?
Denise Rosa.
All right, Ms. Rosa, you are being held based on a few charges here. First one is trespass of an occupied structure with a bond set at $250. Battery on a law enforcement officer, bond at $2,500. Disorderly conduct, bond set at $500. Resisting arrest without violence, bond set at $2,500 for a total bond of $3,500. I did review the narrative and do find probable cause to support these charges. I will appoint the public defender to represent you as you've requested. You are out on a few other cases here. So it appears that you're out on 2019 MM3329. You're out on also 2019 CF3251, as well as 2019 CF3251. I'm going to go ahead and revoke the bond on those cases, and you'll be held at zero until such time that you appear before the judge who is assigned to those cases. And that'll be it.
Your Honor, is she released on a monetary bond on those cases?
I don't have that information. It's, bond was, I just have that she's out on bond and bail to go as the bonding agency. I don't have the specifics on that.
Okay, there are mental health concerns in this case. If she's out on conditional release, we would ask that you take no action.
There were bonds.
There are monetary bonds? Okay.
All right, thank you, ma'am. All right, Joshua Sapp.
Is it, the bond off? So now, yeah, I'm gonna.
Joshua Sapp,
Hey, can you say your name, please?
41889. Joshua Sapp, 41889.
Okay, Mr. Sapp, you are being held based on a domestic-related battery, and I did review the narrative and find probable cause to support the charge. I will appoint the public defender to represent you. I'm going to ask PTR if you can tell me whether you've been able to contact the victim.
No, Your Honor, we were not able to.
Okay, and can you briefly tell me whether there's what type of history we have here?
Yes, Your Honor. He was convicted of a battery domestic in August 2010, arrested for battery domestic non-conviction in 2011, and again in 2012, battery by strangulation. Another conviction of battery domestic March 2016, conviction of kidnapping, stalking 2016. He was sentenced to DOC for felony battery, kidnapping, and stalking in 2017. Battery domestic non-conviction 2018, battery domestic violation of injunction 2018, non-conviction, and conviction of ag stalking in 2019.
Okay, thank you. So here's what we'll do. I'm going to go ahead and set the bond at $2,500. Going to require a no contact order. Going to require separate residences. If he does have belongings at the residence, then he is able to return one time with law enforcement in order to get his belongings, and that is the Osprey Cove place in Kissimmee. And the no contact order is going to be with all of the parties in this case. So, then including the child. So if you look at the narrative, whoever's writing this up, you can see the names in there. I don't want to say the names. Further, going to require that he not own or possess any weapons or firearms. If he has any, it would need to be turned over immediately to law enforcement. And we'll appoint the public defender. That's it. Anything else? All right, thank you.
Your Honor, do you want PTR to supervise those conditions?
I don't know if they can. Ma'am, are you able to?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, that's fine. We'll do that. All right, Jonah Smith. Jonah Smith. You state your name, please.
Jonna Smith.
All right, Ms. Smith, I'm going to ask the state on this one. It looks like possession of controlled substance was stricken through. Do you have any information on that?
Your Honor, from what I
Was
see,
what?
I'm just asking the state attorney a question.
from what I see in our system, Your Honor, in regards to this case, the 18 CF 2361, that she pled no contest to that, went on probation. And so there was a violation of probation on 2/25/2019. I guess that's the warrant there.
Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do, ma'am. You're being held based on a violation of probation community control, case number 2018 CF 2361, being held based on a zero bond. So what I'm gonna do is, you'll be held at a zero bond until you appear before Judge Morgan with regard to the violation of probation. And are you asking to be represented by the public defender?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll appoint the public defender to represent you then. I just need you to complete the paperwork. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, next up, we have Juan Vega. You state your name, please?
Juan Vega.
All right, Mr. Vega, you're being held based on a violation of probation in case number 2018 CF 542. You're being held at a zero bond, and you'll be held until you appear before Judge Wooten as to the violation of probation. And I believe you've asked for public defender, and we'll appoint that for you. Thank you. All right, and then we had a reset on Norlencia Joran. All right, can you state your name, please?
Norlencia Duran.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and ask the state, did you find out any additional information about this case?
I did not, Your Honor. We have the VOP affidavit. That's all I have have seen.
Okay, I think we did appoint the public defender to represent you. Ma'am, did you have any additional information about this case?
No, Your Honor, but the charging affidavit itself says that it was canceled by a judicial service via email.
Yes. So I want
I'm not
to, go ahead. Go ahead, please.
So I'm not entirely sure what had happened or why we don't have access to that information. However, if the affidavit itself is saying that it was canceled, I don't know that we could hold Miss Jerome on a warrant that's been canceled.
So when I looked at the docket, I couldn't find any information that it had been canceled. It shows that it's currently active. State?
That is correct, Your Honor. That's what it is showing on our end. I have no access to anything besides what it says here in this paper about it being canceled. It's an active violation affidavit.
Your Honor, I would ask that a bond be provided in this case. It's not Ms. Jerome's problem that our system's down and we're not able to access such information.
All right, so I'll go ahead and put a bond on this at $500. And I'm going to ask the state to follow up with Judge Tynan's office after the holiday, so Tuesday, so that you can determine what exactly is going on here with regard to this cancellation issue.
Yes, we will do, sir.
All right, but that'll give the defendant an opportunity to bond out if she wants to. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, and do we have a Daniel Hoffman? You say your name, please?
Daniel Joshua Hoffman.
All right, Mr. Hoffman, sir, you're being held based on a failure to appear, let's see, they show 2018 MM6. And based on that, you'll be held, let's see, they're showing a zero bond. So you'll be held until you'll have an appearance before the assigned judge.
Your Honor, if I may,
Yeah, go ahead.
this is a failure to appear on a petty theft where he was given a notice to appear. I don't have the notice to appear with me to check that he was even provided the correct date. I know that there's also an issue with dates set during the hurricane and then moved on, so I just would like to make sure that it doesn't fall into one of those categories to see that he actually did receive notice.
Hang on, I'm looking.
And if he did,
I don't think it was
it's a petty
during,
theft arraignment.
yeah, I don't think it was during the hurricane because the judge who issued the capias is Judge Draper, and she's no longer on the court. So I'm thinking that this arises out of, plus it's a 2018 case. And she hasn't been on the court since the beginning of the year.
Your Honor, if I may.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
So what I'm seeing here is it's actually a failure to appear at a VOP arraignment on this case. And the VOP, the arraignment was on 9/21, and there was a capias issued on 9/21. That's what it's showing in our system.
Okay, I see it, 9/21/18, you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah. All right, so, yeah, he'll be held at zero until he appears before the assigned judge, based on the capias that was issued. All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Is there anybody else in Osceola that we didn't get to?
There is one more.
All right, who's that?
It's Brandy Villegas. It was moved from yesterday. She was added on.
Okay, hang on.
And I may be able to help you out with this one, Your Honor. She was put on mental health pretrial release. I don't believe she qualified for mental health pretrial release. Her family has already posted the monetary bond that you had set. It was at $500. If we could instead make a condition of release, I believe it was no hostile contact with the victim.
Yeah, I believe, is this the one whose husband came here and or boyfriend came here and testified and they share a child in common?
Yes, Your Honor. I think we may have confused PTR just a bit. So if we could just make this a monetary bond
All right,
with a
state.
condition of release.
Okay, state.
I don't have any information on this, but I would have no objection to the bond. What's the charge, Your Honor?
The charge was aggravated battery with a deadly weapon. I set the bond at $500. But what I did is I ordered mental health PTR, also surrender weapons, firearms upon release. I allowed contact because the witness who came and testified specifically stated that he was not afraid of her and that she had a mental health issue. And my concern in PTR, my concern was I wanted to have her evaluated. and considered as to whether PTR could assist with that. And because it seemed the witness who testified appeared to want to help her and was unsure of where to go for help.
Your Honor, in lieu of the mental health PTR, we can assist her with PTR with mental health conditions. She would qualify for that, and it pretty much covers the same evaluation and treatment programs as the prior one.
That sounds like a good idea. I just want to make sure that.
Your Honor, if I may,
Yeah, go
Ms.
ahead. Go
Ms.
ahead.
Villegas had been evaluated 3 times in the past. She's competent, and while I understand her husband's concerns, that a doctor has found her competent to proceed and hasn't felt that it's necessary for the mental health conditions. If we are asking for a monetary bond be set and the condition of no weapons, no hostile contact, that's fine as well to add as a condition of her release.
All right, sir.
I do remember this now from yesterday, Your Honor. I would agree with the PTR with the mental health conditions. That's what the state would ask, given what the victim testified to yesterday.
Yeah, I'm going to leave it to the mental health professionals to make this determination. All right, so I will do the PTR with mental health conditions. All right?
Okay, and if she's to revoke PTR, would she be able to do the monetary bond with the conditional release?
Any objection?
Say that again. What was she asking?
What are you asking, please? Can you restate
For
that?
just the monetary bond,
No,
is that better?
Yeah, I want her to be evaluated by PTR, and the officer who's there, I believe, is familiar with some of what we've done in the past with regard to the resources they have access to help with mental health issues. And I believed yesterday when the witness testified, I found his testimony to be credible, that he really wants to try to help her. And I want to give her that opportunity. All right?
Okay.
All right, thank you. PTR, the mental health condition. Uh-huh. All right, and is that it, ma'am?
That's everybody.
I believe that's everyone.
All right, thank you. Folks, have a good day. Normal. All right. Good morning. This is Judge Weiss. We're here on initial appearances. Today is September 29th, 2019, and I'll ask that you announce your appearances, please.
Yes, Herschel Spangler on behalf of the state.
Courtney Daly with the Public Defender's Office.
All right, thank you. All right, so I understand our first person today is Mr. Perez. Is that who we're starting with?
Perez, you said?
Okay, so you want us to table that for now? Okay. All right, so next person I have is Jose Ruiz de Leon. And we do have our Spanish interpreter.
Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, great. And ma'am, you've already been sworn.
Hey, I'm sorry, he doesn't have his headphones yet, let me.
Okay. And I understand from yesterday, your interpretation will be simultaneous, right? Because they have the headphones, ma'am?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay,
Correct.
just making sure. Okay, could you state your name, please?
Jose Amanje Ruiz de Leon.
All right, sir, you are being held based on a battery related to domestic violence. And the court has reviewed the narrative and finds probable cause to support the charge. Going to ask PTR, have you had the opportunity to speak with the victim?
No, we did not, but we left a voicemail.
Okay, and so they were advised that they had the opportunity to appear today and testify?
Correct.
Okay. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'll appoint. All right, so he didn't check the box that asked for the public defender, but I also see that it's in English, so I'm guessing he didn't know that. So I'm going to go ahead and provisionally appoint the public defender to represent him so that he can fill out the proper paperwork, okay?
Okay.
All right, so we'll appoint the public defender. I'll go ahead and issue a bond of $500. I'm going to require no contact with the victim. Going to require that they maintain separate residences. He can go back one time with law enforcement in order to obtain any belongings. And further, that he's not to own or possess any weapons or firearms. If he has any, they must be turned over to law enforcement immediately. And it's important that he knows that this is a temporary situation until such time as a judge has an opportunity to hear all the facts and make a determination. All right, and that'll be it. Thank you. So I speak a few, speak a little bit of Spanish, I said it way. All right, we're going to start with Mr. Wright.
I think it's Hernandez. Oh, Perez. That was the one we passed.
Okay. Okay. Can you state your name, please?
Jesús A. Pérez Pérez.
Jesus A. Perez Perez.
All right, sir, you are being held based on 3 charges. Number 1, tampering with a witness to hinder law enforcement officer. Number 2, battery related to domestic violence. Number 3, resisting an officer without violence. And gonna go ahead and ask, are you asking to be represented by the public defender?
Yes.
Okay, I'll go ahead and appoint the public defender to represent him and just request that he complete the paperwork. I'm going to ask PTR about their conversation with the victim. I mean, I can read to you, I can read in the record what it says. Did you have any additional information?
No additional information.
Okay, so the victim does not want contact. Victim will be seeking an injunction. So what I'm going to do on this one, I'll go ahead and, on the first charge, I'll issue a bond of $500. Second count, I'll issue a bond of $500, and the third one, $500, total of $1,500. The court will issue a no contact order with the victim. Court will require separate residences. He can return one time with law enforcement to obtain his belongings, and I'll also require that he not own or possess any weapons or firearms. That'll be it. He does?
According to the PTR sheet, though, it says he prefers a monetary bond because he was having trouble getting an alternative address. So I'd ask that you leave it at the monetary bonds that you've set.
Okay, that's fine.
You're welcome. That should be good. Oh, is that? No? Okay.
Judge, the first guy that we did in Spanish, this is his victim, not his.
Oh, Mr. Ruiz?
Yes.
He was the first one we addressed. I guess she wants to be heard.
First guy.
I don't know. He's a right to be here, though, so. Judge, if we're gonna hear from the alleged victim, I'd like him to be here.
Yeah, I agree. Ma'am, do you recall in that case, had you spoken to the victim? In the,
Ruiz,
yeah,
no, they did try, they attempted to call her, she didn't answer, so they left a voicemail.
okay, do you have, is that on that as well?
Ruiz,
Is it possible for you all to get him back here?
Yeah, they just called him to come back up.
Oh, they did, okay. Thank you.
We could pass it.
Hmm?
We could pass it until he's able to come back up.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
And I believe she needs an interpreter as well.
Okay. All right, can you say your name, please?
Tell him your name.
Nathan Ortiz Hernandez, sir.
All right, what about Leon Wright? Do we have a Leon Wright?
That, we have that, that's later down on the move-up list. This is the gentleman that we were just talking about before court started about needing to advise him of the sex offender requirements in order for him to be released.
You know, said Leon Wright on down was gonna be moved up because of change. So you changed it.
Hang on, where is he?
Who is this? Hernandez.
He's not in there.
He's the add-on.
His name is not in there. We had to go get, he was supposed to come in yesterday, but they didn't have him on the docket. So I gave him the word.
Okay, but that. Can you do anything with this?
Oh.
So he's in here somewhere?
It's just that he got to address the detained for that high-risk sex offender, just have it addressed so we can close it out.
All right, that's it. Thank you. All right, sir, your name?
Nathan Ortiz, sir.
All right, so, so we have information here regarding your priors, which I've reviewed. State, what are you going to be requesting on this?
I have nothing on this individual. I was understood, it was my understanding that it just needed to be,
Yeah. So, sir, do you understand that you have reporting requirements?
Yes, sir. Yes, I do.
Okay, and that's, all right. Then, I think that's here in the document that, that needs to be signed then. Well, it looks like you signed it. All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay.
This is Ruben. Oh, Ruben. Yeah, the one with the victim.
Okay. Okay, interpreter, you still with us?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, great. So Mr. Ruiz is back in here, and we do have a witness. Can you go ahead and swear in the witness, please? What now? Oh, it's fine.
You raise your right hand, please.
Señora, levante la mano derecha, por favor.
Do you swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Señora, ¿jura decir la verdad, toda la verdad y nada más que la verdad? ¿Lo jura ante Dios? Acérqueseme al micrófono, señora, por favor, para responder. Yes.
Please
Okay.
state your name for the record.
Diga su nombre para que conste en el acta y ya puede bajar la mano. Señora, diga su nombre para que conste en el acta.
Rebeca Loridalma de León Hernández.
Rebecca Flodiler Marelion Hernandez.
Okay, ma'am, Mr. Ruiz is here on a domestic-related battery. And earlier, the court found probable cause to support the charge. If you can tell her that, please.
Señora, el señor Ruiz se encuentra aquí por una acusación de agresión física, es una acusación de violencia doméstica. Anteriormente se había determinado que existe indicio de criminalidad para sustentar esa acusación.
And it involves a situation that occurred on September 28th at West Oak Ridge Road at what appears to be their residence.
Y esto está relacionado con un incidente que ocurrió el 28 de septiembre en la West Oak Ridge Road, en lo que parece ser una vivienda.
Okay, does she remember
Yes.
that? Okay. What would
¿Usted
she like?
recuerda eso?
What does she want to tell us about what happened during that incident?
¿Qué quería usted decir con respecto a lo que ocurrió durante ese incidente?
No lo entendí bien.
I didn't quite understand.
I just want to know what she wants to tell the court, if anything. She doesn't have to talk to us, but if she wants to tell us anything to help us with regard to determining what terms and condition of release are, we want to hear from her.
Señora, el juez solamente quiere saber si usted tiene algo que agregar y usted no está obligada a decir nada, pero si usted tiene algo que agregar, que nos ayude a determinar cuáles van a ser las condiciones bajo las cuales él será puesto en libertad. Si tiene algo como eso que agregar, por favor, adelante.
No, yo solo venía a verle o si lo pueden dejar en libertad porque tenemos 2 niños.
No, I just came to see him and to see if you can let him out because we have 2 children.
Okay. I'm going to ask the Assistant State Attorney whether he wants to question.
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
Le pregunto al fiscal si tiene alguna interrogante para la testigo. Sí.
Ma'am, do you currently live and reside with the defendant?
Señora, ¿usted actualmente vive y reside con el acusado?
Sí,
Yes.
Who else lives in the home with you?
¿Quién más vive en esa casa con ustedes?
pues solo nosotros y una hermana.
Well, just the 2 of us and 1 sister.
Are there any kids in the home?
En la casa viven niños.
Solo mis 2 niños.
Only my 2 children.
And how old are they?
¿Qué edades tienen ellos?
De 5 meses y de 2 años y 5 meses.
5 months old and 2 years and 5 months old.
If the defendant was to come home, do you fear for your safety?
Si el acusado regresara a vivir a la casa, ¿usted teme por su seguridad?
No,
No.
Has anything like this happened before?
¿En el pasado había ocurrido algún incidente como este?
no.
No.
If this was to happen again in the future, would you contact law enforcement officers?
Si esto volviera a ocurrir en el futuro, ¿usted estaría dispuesta a contactar a las autoridades?
Sí.
Well, yes.
Okay, thank you. No further questions.
Gracias.
All right.
Nada más.
Public defender wish to inquire?
Yes, briefly. Would you like to have contact with Mr. Ruiz?
De parte de la defensora pública se le pregunta, señora, ¿usted desea tener contacto con el señor Ruiz?
Sí.
Well, yes.
Would you like him to be able to live with you?
¿Usted desea que él pueda residir en la casa con usted?
Sí.
Given the
Yes.
alleged victim's testimony, I would ask that we change the order from no contact to no hostile contact and that they be allowed to maintain the same residence.
Response?
Your Honor, given the lack of any violent history for the defendant that I see, and given that the victim is present, the state would not object to no hostile contact.
Okay. Court will agree then and allow no hostile contact. So it'll be, the conditions will be no hostile contact, as well as that he's not to own or possess any weapons or firearms. However, they can share the residence. You want to tell her that?
Señora, teniendo en cuenta la falta de antecedentes y el hecho de que usted está presente y ha venido a declarar, la defensa solicita que se elimine la prohibición de contacto y se establezca solamente prohibición de contacto hostil. La Fiscalía está de acuerdo por los mismos factores. Por tanto, el juez ha determinado que se les permitirá tener contacto, se emitirá prohibición de contacto hostil, se le prohíbe a él también tener armas y armas de fuego, pero sí se le permitirá residir en la misma vivienda.
And
Okay, thank you.
I did want to acknowledge that there is an immigration hold detainer on this.
Oh.
Okay, so make sure he knows that. All right. Thank you. That'll be it. Actually getting to Mr. Wright. Your name, sir?
Jackson DeLeese or Rick.
Who?
Mike check.
What is your name again?
Jackson DeLeese, all right.
Delise.
This is the order I have.
Yeah, that's the one.
Oh,
So I have Leon Wright I'm waiting for.
it seems there was a mix with the order. I had this order, but I guess there's a different order. Okay.
I have Wright and then Chung.
Yeah, I understand what they're doing. I just have to scroll down.
Okay.
This is Mr. Wright, Leon Wright.
Thank you. You state your name, sir?
Leon came right.
All right, so I have your name as Leon Akeem Wright. Is that your name, sir?
Yes.
Okay. So you're being held based on a trespass on the on property after a warning. Bond has been set at $500. I did review the narrative. It appears to be probable cause to support the charge. You're asking to be represented by the public defender. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. Is there any offers by the state, or do we have a concern here with
Your Honor,
Mental
since
health.
this appears to be family-related, the state would want to have time to speak with the other people involved in this case, so there's no offer at this time.
Okay.
I have competency concerns. I wouldn't resolve this.
Okay. All right, thank you, sir.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. May the Spanish interpreter be excused?
Just want to make sure we don't have any other Spanish that we know of, right? Yes, ma'am. Thank you for your help.
You're very welcome. Have a very good day.
Then we're doing Chung. Yeah, see, we're picking up the one Charlie's. I got you.
You state your name, please?
George Chung.
All right, Mr. Chung, you are being held on several charges here. We have a battery on a law enforcement officer with a bond set at $2,500. Resisting an officer with violence with a bond set at $150 for a total of $2,650. All right, so that was, hang on, so we have new charges from September 28th, 2019. Burglary of a dwelling with a bond set at $5,000, robbery, sudden snatching, bond set at $1,000, grand theft, third degree, bond set at $500, battery with a bond set at $500, and tampering with a witness, bond set at $150. And that is from an arrest warrant. So here's what we're going to do. So the we're going to keep the bonds at $7,150, and that's for the 5 charges that I had just read. The other charges that I initially read, those are the current pending charges in 2019 CF 13686. So, and then I understand you're out on bond on 2018 CF 011043. And we'll go ahead and revoke the bond on that case. And I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. So you'll be held on the other case without bond. All right, thank you, sir. There's two of them. He's out on bond.
Wilson now?
So he's out on bond on this case here. Right? And then he's out on bond on this case here. 11023. Yeah, I think, did I mention both?
I'm sorry, did you mention who?
There should have been two cases that he's out on bond on.
I heard,
I heard one.
oh yeah, no, only heard you revoke one.
Okay,
but
and I
there's a
can't
second.
see.
So there's 2018 CF 013772. And then there's a second case, which is 2018 CF 011043.
I heard you list both of those case numbers, I just didn't hear whether you revoked
Yeah,
both of
I
them. I
revoked
assumed you revoked
Yeah,
both of
I
them.
did. I revoked on both of those. Thank you. All right, ma'am, your name, please?
Me,
Yes.
Andrea Thompson.
Okay, so Ms. Thompson, you are here pursuant to two charges. One, disturbing the peace with a bond set at $500. Number two is resisting an officer, and the bond set at $500. The court does find probable cause. I will appoint the public defender to represent you. It appears that you have a current ongoing case, 2019 MM 7965.
Wait, isn't that the one we're here for?
Oh,
I didn't have an Allen bond case.
Night.
yeah, you are correct
Okay,
on that. This is a reset, that's why. Okay.
thank you.
All right, so I'll appoint the public defender. Ma'am? You have anything to add?
Oh, yes, I wanted to say that she has no criminal conviction, so I'd ask if she could be released on her own recognizance.
State?
State has no objection.
All right, court will grant. Thank you. Can you state your name, please?
Eric Wilson.
Do we have a Rhodey Lazius?
That's next.
I don't have that.
The road, yeah.
No, she's listening.
Somehow I have the wrong one.
No, they've been going on order all day, that's all.
I ain't talking about you.
Oh,
Y'all don't even know your space monkey right around.
okay.
It's Eric Wilson.
All of y'all.
It's a felony VOP.
Yeah, okay. All right, sir, you are being held based on a violation of probation, and you're being held currently on a zero bond, and that's pursuant to an order from a judge of the court, and you will be held at zero until such time as you appear before the assigned judge, and I will appoint the public defender as you've requested. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Now we'll go to Lucius. You state your name, please?
Wadi Lazis.
Okay. And do I spell your last name Lizius?
US, yes, sir.
Okay, great. Sir, you're being held based on an attempted burglary of a conveyance, bond set at $1,000, as well as trespass on property after warning with a bond set at $100. I did review the narrative and find there's probable cause to support this. I'm going to leave the bonds at $1,100. I'll appoint the public defender as you've requested. You are out on bond on 2019 CF 006036, and I will revoke the bond on that case. And you'll appear before that judge with regard to the violation on that bond. All right? Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
There we go. Now they're starting to correspond. Bless you. You say your name, please?
Jaxley DeLeese and Ray Monroe.
So you have two names?
Yes.
Okay. So the one that I have here is on Jaxley DeLeese, and I have you being held based on a domestic-related battery. And I reviewed the narrative and find that there is probable cause to support this charge. You have, are you asking to be represented by a public defender?
No.
No? Okay. If you do want to be represented by an attorney, just let us know at some point. So based on the information that I have here, I'm going to ask PTR, have we spoken with the victim?
They attempted to.
Excuse me? You tried to?
They attempted to contact her, but she didn't answer the phone. They could not leave a voicemail because it wasn't properly set up.
Okay. So we don't have any information here. And what I'm going to do is
What?
Hang on.
I'm just reading. Hang on.
He's about to see the bottom of your case.
All right, so I've appointed the public defender for you, sir. I'm going to go ahead and, it looks like that you don't have any prior history,
Of course not.
but I'm not sure how accurate this is.
Yes, he didn't have any issues.
Oh, I see, 2019 MM 893.
29 what?
State, do you have any information on this?
What was that case number again, Your Honor?
2019
MM,
893. So it's 000893 AW.
This way here.
that's what it's
this
here
one.
for, yeah. I don't have any information showing any history. The victim is not here, so we would have asked for no contact. There seems to be, I don't know if he has anywhere to go, so there's some concern about that. There also seems to be some mental health concern here too.
All right, well, I think I have to issue a no contact order with regard to the victim, and, which I will do. I'm further going to require that he have a separate residence, so that we don't set him up to violate that no contact order. You're allowed, sir, to return one time to the property with law enforcement in order to obtain any belongings that you have. I'm also going to require that you not have any weapons or firearms. They must be turned over to law enforcement. And further, I'm going to ask PTR, are you able to help us with mental health on this one?
He's not gonna qualify for mental health PTR because of the charge.
Anyway, if you want to, you can ask for that or a bond. And we have to.
Yeah, so I'll set the bond at $500 or PTR mental health. Might be good, sir, for you to get an evaluation and see if these folks can help you.
Judge,
Yes, ma'am.
he did have, they did speak with him already prior to, but I don't have any additional information on what happened, but they did speak with him.
Okay. All right, well, that option's there if he needs it.
He seems really confused about this no contact order. Could you please put the alleged victim's name on the record for him, so he knows who not to have contact with?
Okay. All right, sir, do you know who Jacques Delices is? I
Not
don't know if I'm
anymore.
pronouncing it right. Jacques?
Not anymore.
Okay. What about Jaxley?
That's me, like I said.
That's you, but you don't know who Jock is?
Not anymore, like I said.
Okay. Well, that's the name that's been identified by Officer Rohr. All right, so that'll be the name that we're going to use.
So just have to sign there and say you understand.
What's this?
Talk to you again.
Why'd you look away?
I was looking away to write down your case number. Sorry.
What does this mean? Yeah, I want to get on a PTR.
All right.
Oh. That's, got confused. Can you undo that? That doesn't cost.
Do you have Mr. Archer next?
All right, can you state your name, please?
Keith Archer.
All right, sir, you're being held based on a larceny theft, second degree. Bond is set at $1,000. The court reviewed the narrative and finds probable cause to support the charge regarding what happened at Walmart. You've asked to be represented by the public defender. I'll grant the public defender to represent you. I'll leave the bond at $1,000, and that'll be it. Thank you. You state your name, please?
Kaz Gregory Step.
Okay. Sir, you're being held based on an assault on a law enforcement officer. Bond was set at $500. And you have asked for a public defender to represent you. I'll assign the public defender to represent you. And we'll go ahead and leave the bond at $500. And we'll go from there. Thank you, sir. All right, can you say your name, please?
Terrell Taylor.
All right, Mr. Taylor, you were being held based on a charge of battery with a bond set at $500, and then a charge of trespassing in structure or conveyance with a bond at $250. I found probable cause to support those charges. I keep the bonds at $750. You've asked for the public defender. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you on these charges, and we'll go from there. Thank you.
sir.
You state your name, please? All right, Mr. Doss, you're being held on 2 charges: aggravated battery on a pregnant person related to domestic violence, currently held at no bond. Second charge is false imprisonment related to domestic violence with no bond. The court does find probable cause to support the charge. The, let's see, it looks like there's a separate case.
That's the one we addressed yesterday.
Oh, that was the one yesterday, 2019?
Remember, we wanted to address all 3 at once, but we couldn't
Right,
because we didn't
CF
have.
13676, okay. So I did find probable cause yesterday on the other charge, I believe.
Yes, and you set a
Okay.
bond in that case yesterday.
Yeah, so, still, we haven't heard from the victim, PTR?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna put a bond on the other case. All right, so on 2019 CF 13676, we'll put a bond at $1,000. With regard to the instant case, the other one, we'll put a bond at 500 and then 250. Going to issue a no contact order with the victim. Going to require separate residences. He can return one time with law enforcement in order to obtain his belongings. He's not to own or possess any weapons or firearms, and that has to do with all cases. And I'll appoint the public defender to represent him. All right, so it should be. You state your name, please?
Johnson.
All right, I have a charge here of battery relating to dating violence. I did review the narrative. You've asked for a public defender. I will appoint the public defender to represent you. I'm going to ask the state, if you've had an opportunity to look at this, do we have enough information from the affidavit to support the dating? I didn't see that. Maybe I'm missing something.
Give me 1 second, Your Honor.
All right. We do have a witness here, it appears, so maybe that'll be helpful. Okay, I see where it is now. it's halfway down, that there was a relationship for 2 to 3 years.
Yes, Your Honor.
Maybe, all right. So I understand there's someone here who'd like to provide some information to us. Why don't you go ahead and swear the witness, please?
Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Please state your name for the record.
Quanisha Marshall.
All right, Ms. Marshall, what would you like to tell us about this event that occurred yesterday?
Nothing.
Excuse me?
I don't want to speak on it right now.
You don't want to provide any information? You don't have to, but I wanted to give you the opportunity to talk to us about this.
I don't want to press any charges.
Okay, well, do you want to provide any information to us about your perspective on this?
No.
No? Okay. State, did you want to try to obtain some
Yeah,
information?
we would like to try to ask some questions, Your Honor.
Okay, you can try.
Thank you. So you are in a relationship with the victim, with the defendant, is that correct?
Yes.
And do you want to continue to have contact with the defendant?
Yes.
Do you currently reside together with the defendant? Do you live together?
We did.
You did? Are you going to continue to live together? I didn't hear. No. Have you moved out?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any fear for your safety if you were to have contact with the defendant?
No.
Okay. Has anything like this happened before between you and the defendant?
No.
If something like this was to happen again, would you contact law enforcement officers?
Yes.
Thank you. No further questions.
All right.
I don't have any questions. Just given the alleged victim's testimony, I'd ask for no hostile contact.
Okay, PTR, what do you have in terms of history?
We'll have, 0 felony, 4 misdemeanors, no failures, convictions, resisting the officer without violence, DV, petty theft. Last conviction was, 8/2016, and juvenile conviction was petty theft, assault, school employee.
All right, so here's what I'm going to do. The court will issue a bond of $500. Going to issue a no hostile contact with the victim. They've already said that there's going to be separate residences, so I'm satisfied with regard to that. Ma'am, if you have any weapons or firearms, you're to turn those over to law enforcement immediately upon release and your ability to get them, okay? And I'll appoint the public defender for you. Thanks for coming here today, ma'am. You say your name, please?
Darren Kastner.
All right, Mr. Kastner, you are being held based on a domestic-related battery. I did review the information that was provided to me, and the court does find probable cause to support the charge. I'm going to ask the PTR, have we heard from the victim at all since?
No, we attempted to contact the victim, but it was no phone number.
Okay. Okay, sir, I see that you have minimal history here. Are you asking for the public defender to represent you?
Yes.
Does he qualify?
Yes, he qualified.
Okay,
So he's on PTR.
all right. Well, I meant for the public defender, though. Yeah, actually, it says he does not qualify on here. So, sir, you don't qualify for a public defender. That means if you want to be represented, you'll have to hire an attorney, okay? But what I'm going to do with regard to this case, I'm going to consider that the victim is not here and we haven't heard from the victim. Do you all live together? You don't?
No.
Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and issue a no contact order as to the victim. You're not, and that's self-explanatory when you read the form. I'm going to require that you not own or possess any weapons or firearms. If you have any, you need to turn them over to law enforcement. I'm I'm going to require you all to have separate residences, which sounds like you have already. But I'm going to direct PTR this case, given your lack of history here. So that means not requiring a monetary bond for your release, okay? But, so you will be you'll be provided when you're going to have your next court date, so make sure you appear for that. All right, and that's it. Thank you, sir. You state your name, please.
Jasmine King.
All right, Ms. King, you're being held based on a domestic-related battery, and according to what I've read, there appears to be probable cause to support that charge. You're asking to be represented by the public defender. The court will appoint the public defender to represent you, and it looks like we have somebody here who wants to tell us some information about this case. And let's go ahead and swear in the witness, please.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Please state your name for the record.
William Montanez.
All right, sir, what would you like to tell us regarding this incident that occurred on 9/28?
It was all just a big misunderstanding. Too many drinks, and that's all it was.
Okay. Has anything like this happened before?
No, this is the first time.
Okay. And I'm going to ask the Assistant State Attorney if he has any questions.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Sir, do you currently reside with the defendant? Do you live together?
Yes.
How long have you lived with the defendant?
Oh, 2-3 years.
Okay. Does anyone else live with you there in the home?
We have a 1-year-old.
A 1-year-old
Yes.
child? Any other?
No.
And that's just it? Was that child present when all of this
No.
happened?
No.
If the defendant was to be released and came back to live there with you, do you have any fear for your
No.
safety? Do you want to be in contact with the
Yes.
defendant? If something like this was to happen again, would you contact law enforcement officers?
Yes.
Okay, no further question.
All right. Ma'am?
I don't have any questions, just given the alleged victim's testimony, I'd ask for no hostile contact and they'd be allowed to live together. And she also qualifies for straight PTR.
Your Honor, given the victim's testimony, the lack of history, we would have no objection to a no hostile contact order in place or to PTR.
All right, that's what the court will do. We'll direct PTR this case. No hostile contact. Go from there. All right, thank you. Good luck to you, man. Sir, thanks for your time today.
What was the bond set?
No bond. Or pretrial release.
Oh, okay.
Be careful when I say no bond. Which is essentially true, but.
You do qualify for PTR.
All right, please state your name.
Ray Manuel Rodriguez Cos.
All right, sir, you are being held based on a domestic-related battery. Appears to be probable cause to support the charge against you. You've asked for a public defender. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. PTR, we still haven't been able to contact the victim? Okay. So we have no information from the victim. You do have minimal history here. Do you reside with hang on, do you reside with Liz? Do you know this person, Liz?
Yes.
Amanda and
He
Ray
said yeah.
Manuel?
Yes, he said he does live with her.
Okay.
Not anymore. he just wanted me to say that both of their names are on the lease.
Okay, but okay, so both of you are on the lease. So here's what I'm going to do. Because I don't have any information from Ms. Madera or Ms. Gonzalez, who is Ms. Gonzalez? Is she also living there?
Miss Gonzalez is his girlfriend.
Okay, all right. So with regard to, but Ms. Gonzalez doesn't live there, right? Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to require a no contact order with Ms. Madera, and I'm going to require you to have a separate residence until such time as the court tells you otherwise. You're allowed to return one time with law enforcement in order to obtain your belongings. I'm going to require that you not own or possess any weapons or firearms. If you have any, they must be turned over immediately to law enforcement. Given your the lack of history here, I will direct PTR this case and have this monitored by PTR and not require a monetary bond.
Can we ask for an alternative address, because the address he provided is somewhere in New York, and do that, him and the victim, they live together?
Yeah, so you're gonna have to provide us, do you have family here that you can stay with? Yes? Okay. So once you provide that to the folks at pretrial release, and then we'll be able to do this, okay?
Can you provide that to me right now?
Yeah, fine.
Do you have an address? Do you have an address?
Thank you.
Say that one more time. La Vista Boulevard. Is that two words or is that one word? Oh, Lee Vista. I'm sorry.
Okay, the address we have, that's supposed to be the mother-in-law, I guess his girlfriend's mom.
Who's the alleged victim? The girlfriend or the mother-in-law?
It was my understanding it was the sister.
Liz.
Okay.
Madera.
So Liz doesn't stay, she stays with him.
Who lives at that address that you just gave me? Okay. And Liz is the alleged victim?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you can't live there.
According to the
Different
narrative.
address. Can we do bond or PTR? Because he says he has to make a call to get the address, so.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll have a $500 bond.
Yes, you could do 100 for bondsman. Or get your address from PTR. He did it backwards, he did 29, yeah. He just wrote the date the way the rest of the world does.
Can you say your name, please?
William J. Walsh, Jr.
All right. Mr. Walsh, you're being held based on a domestic-related battery that's pursuant to a affidavit and warrant from the court. Currently, bond was set at 0. So probable cause has been found. I understand from PTR that we don't have contact with the victim.
No contact.
We haven't heard anything.
There was no information, no phone number built.
Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and, sir, are you asking to be represented by the public defender?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. I'm going to issue a no contact order with the victim. I'm going to require separate residences. And you can return one time with law enforcement in order to obtain any belongings. You're not to own or possess any weapons or firearms. If you have any, they must be turned over to law enforcement. And I'm going to issue a bond of, well, you do have a history, looks like there's been a prior battery.
An arrest, not a conviction.
It was an arrest with the same victim, Your Honor.
Yeah, I'll issue a bond of $500. That'll be it. Thank you.
That's for you.
Can you state your name, please?
I'm sorry,
Your name, please?
Ashley also.
All right, ma'am, you have been charged with tampering with physical evidence, bond set at $1,000, petite theft with a bond set at $100, and a resisting officer without violence with a bond set at $100. The court does find probable cause to support these charges. You've asked for the public defender to represent you. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. With regard to the current case that you have, 2018 CF 018045, that you're out on bond for, I'm going to revoke the bond on that case. It'll be kept at 0 until such time as you appear before the assigned judge on that case. And I'll appoint the public defender as to all cases. Thank you. You state your name, please?
Robert Boyd, sir.
Hang on one now. Okay, hang on. Sir, 1 second. What can you folks tell me about Alyssa Beerley?
I have that.
What's that, number?
I have a number 1902-8586.
Bonded.
Okay. Louise Bortugno. Okay, 1902-8583.
I believe she said mental health.
Okay, so we'll try again tomorrow. All right, now we have Mr. Boyd. All right, sir. So the charges that I have here are possession of cocaine with bond set at $1,000. There appears to be probable cause to support that charge. Leave the bond at $1,000. It appears that you are eligible for the public defender, so I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. There's also a theft charge with 2 prior convictions with a bond set at $1,500. Court's already found probable cause on that through an affidavit of arrest warrant that was issued. So that bond will remain at $1,500. Now, with regard to, it looks like you're out on bond on case number 2019 CF 9581. So the court's going to revoke bond on that case, and you'll be held at 0 until such time as you appear before the assigned judge.
Sir, I'm not out on bond on any case.
You're not?
No, sir.
Your Honor, my understanding is he was out on PTR.
Oh,
On
PTR.
that one.
I tried to explain this to you back.
Well,
Yeah.
so
Yes, sir, I am on PTR. Is there any way I could bond out or have a bond though, please? Because I'm the sole provider for 3 family members in my home. I travel back and forth for work. I'm in contact. I haven't missed a court date. I will not miss a court date, sir. I'm a crane operator in downtown Savannah. I'm also just got my TWIG card down here, and I'm going to, and I do outpatient substance abuse, sir. I have not missed any court date. I will not miss a court date, and I'm sorry for this inconvenience, sir. But I do need to make a bond, sir, please.
It's within your discretion to revoke PTR and set a new bond if that's what the court would like to do.
State?
Since he was on PTR, we have no objection to revoking PTR and setting a bond in that previous case.
All right, so I'll revoke PTR and I'll set a bond at $500.
Okay, so I'm able to get out?
Yes.
Just talk to your attorneys, they'll tell you.
Yes, you can bond out.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
No, there's 2 separate cases. I stayed the bond on the cocaine charge. On that one?
He's gonna set up.
That's when we go, what that is.
No, it's to see if you don't qualify.
But they leaving that case low.
You should be addressing your case soon.
All right, your name, please?
Girl Cadet.
All right, sir, you are being held on sale and delivery of cannabis. Bond is set at $1,000. The court's already issued a probable cause, already found probable cause. Bond set at $1,000. You're asking to be represented by the public defender. We'll go ahead and grant that for you, and that'll be it. Thank you. You say your name, please?
Roxana Castro.
All right, so Ms. Castro, you are being held based on 2 counts of possession of cocaine, with the bond being set at $1,000 for the first count, $150 for the second count, for a total of $1,150. Court finds probable cause to support those charges. You've asked for a public defender. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. It looks like you are out. Looks like you're out on bond, or actually ROR on 2019 CF 11254.
May I be heard on that?
Yes, you may.
She was arrested on August 7th, 2019. No information's been filed as of today. A 33-day motion was granted pursuant to Rule of Criminal Procedure 3.134. So we ask that you take no action.
That is correct, Your Honor. There has been no information filed in that case as of yet.
Okay, I'll take no action on that other case, okay? That'll be it. Thank you.
Okay, I'll ask.
Your name, please?
Tommy Dixon.
Mr. Dixon, you're being held based on charge of burglary of conveyance with a bond set at $7,500, grand theft third degree with a bond set at $250, and criminal mischief with a bond set at $250. A judge of the court's already found probable cause. Judge Murphy set your bail at $8,000. You're asking to be represented by the public defender, and I'll grant that. All right, thank you, sir.
Here you go, sir. I'll tell your attorney.
You say your name, please?
Bob Fonseca, sir.
All right, sir, you are being held based on a failure to appear on a felony warrant, case number 2018 CF 012931. Your bond on that is 0, so you will be held until such time that you appear before the presiding judge. On that, you've asked for the public defender. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. Thank you, sir.
Yes, you'll see him.
You state your name, please?
It is visiting here, sir.
All right. So you are being held based on 3 charges. One is possession of meth with a bond set at $1,000. Number 2, possession of cannabis, the bond set at $100. Number 3, resisting an officer without violence with a bond set at $100. Court finds probable cause to support the charges. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. The bonds will remain the same. You're also, looks like, out on ROR.
If I could be heard on that one as well.
Yes, ma'am, and that's case number 2019 CF 010317. Go ahead.
Your Honor, he was arrested on July 18th, 2019, and no information's been filed as of to date that I'm aware of. I looked this morning on the clerk's website.
That is correct, Your Honor. No information's been filed.
So the court will take no action as to that other case. Thank you. Is Mr. Fonseca still available? It appears that he had a,
Oh, the introducing contraband
Yeah.
when he was arrested on the warrant?
yeah, well, I'm just, if you'll just inform him, did I
Yes.
appoint you?
Yes, I believe you did.
Will you all just inform him of that
Yes.
charge? And, the bonds were set by the judge.
So they've already, okay.
Thank you. Thanks for reminding me. All right, your name, sir?
Timothy Knowles.
Okay, what about Leroy Hood?
He bonded, Your Honor.
All right. All right, Mr. Knowles, you're being held based on attempted burglary of a conveyance with a bond set at $1,000, resisting officer without violence, the bond set at $100. Court finds probable cause to support these charges. You've asked for the public defender to represent you. The court will appoint the public defender to represent you. And that'll be it. Thank you, sir. Your name, please?
Lisa Lewis.
All right, Ms. Lewis, you are being held based on a possession of cocaine with a bond of $1,000, possession of drug paraphernalia with a bond of $500. I do find probable cause to support those charges. You've asked to be represented by the Public Defender's Office. I will appoint the Public Defender to represent you. And that'll be it. Thank you. All right, your name, sir?
Oh, Michael Martini. My wife is
All right, Mr. Martini, you're being held based on a grand theft, third degree involving a motor vehicle. Bond is $1,000. The court finds probable cause to support the charge. You're being asked to, you've asked for the public defender. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you.
If I may, Your Honor.
Hang on.
Don't worry. You gotta let him finish, and I will do my job.
So now that I've appointed the public defender, you can either speak with her or you can address the court directly to me, but we are being recorded. So
There was just a typo on my application. It had $600 a month, and it was actually $600 a week. I don't want to provide false information on this sheet.
All right, well, why don't you do that? Here's what I'm going to do. I'll appoint the public defender provisionally, and they
Okay.
can check in with you to update your forms to determine whether or not you're eligible.
Okay.
If you're not eligible, you'll have to hire a private attorney.
Okay,
Okay, but for purposes of today, I want to make sure that you're represented.
okay.
He
All right.
qualifies for direct PTR. He is, it doesn't look like any criminal convictions or some warrants, but I don't know anything about those. But, so we'd ask for direct PTR.
State?
Your Honor, I'm showing that there are some outstanding warrants out of state.
They're not extraditable.
I see, well, they're not extraditable, but I see one for New Mexico, I
So-
see one for Georgia, which to me says there might be an issue with regard to not showing up.
Yeah, I would
So-
object to PTR in this case.
PTR would be monitoring him, and his wife is legally blind, and he's the sole caretaker for her.
She
That's what he
suffers
wanted to tell me.
from rheumatoid arthritis. Earlier this year, I literally had to pick her up and take her from the bedroom to the bathroom, and I was her full caregiver. She has no way of getting food. She has no way of taking care of herself. The officers at the scene actually gave her a ride back home and helped her up the wheelchair ramp I had built for her. So, I mean, without me being there, she is in a very dire straits. We came down here in December because it's too cold where she is, and she has to stay in a warm environment, so I'm not going anywhere, probably until at least March of next year.
And one of these is a warrant for failure to pay fines, so that's not that he didn't show up somewhere. He must be behind on some sort of payment. And it says he has no out-of-state history, so there's reason to believe that if these warrants are even accurate.
Your Honor, based on what I'm seeing and what I have here, there is an outstanding warrant out of Georgia for larceny. There is no extradition, but then there's one in New Mexico. It says FTA, and then it says failure to pay, fines.
Yeah, FTA is
Yeah.
failure to appear.
Exactly. We would ask for a bond in this case, a reasonable bond.
All right, I'll reduce it to $500.
That's $100 per month. Yeah, I know. I did my best. Best I got.
Your Honor, we have Fonseca back.
What'd you say?
We have Fonseca.
This is the one you told me to inform him about the additional charges.
Yeah, did you do that?
No, because I've been standing here, and I didn't know he was behind me.
That's a good point. All right, Mr. Fonseca, you did have two other charges that I wanted to make sure that you were aware of. One was introducing contraband into a state facility with a bond at $1,000, as well as possession of cocaine with a bond at $1,000. Those bonds are going to remain as the court found probable cause with regard to those as well. All right, and the court will appoint the public defender on those cases as well. Thank you, sir. All right, your name, sir?
Orintius Mathis.
People call you OJ? That's kind of a cool name. Orinthus Germain. All right. So, Mr. Mathis, you're here based on a failure to appear. This is based on a warrant issued by a judge of the court in 2018 CF 015761. So you're going to be held at 0 until such time that you appear before the judge assigned to your case, and I will appoint the public defender to represent you. Thank you, sir. You state your name, please.
Angela Bendo.
All right, ma'am, you are being held based on a grand theft third degree. Bond is set at $500. I reviewed the information and did find probable cause to support the charge. There's a second case here, which is retail theft greater than $300, and the bond is set at $1,500. And I did find probable cause to support that one as well. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you on those cases. You do have an out-of-county warrant for theft. It looks like it's from Seminole County. So we're going to provide that information to Seminole County that you are in custody, and they will decide what they want to do with regard to that. But there's a bond on that, by the way, at $2,000 for that out-of-county warrant. And then there's another out-of-county warrant. Is that just a copy? Okay, all right. So, I believe that's it. Thank you, ma'am. Your name?
Jamie Negron.
All right, sir, you're being held based on a possession of cocaine charge with a bond set at $1,000. Court finds probable cause to support that charge. I will appoint the public defender to represent you. I also see that you're out on case number 2019 CF 004151. And I'm going to revoke the bond on that case. And you'll appear before the presiding judge on that case based on the violation of the bond. All right, thank you. Now, I think appoint the public defender. Your name, please?
Gabriel Oliver.
All right, Mr. Oliver, you're being held based on a burglary of an occupied dwelling with a bond set at $5,000, as well as a grand theft third degree with a bond set at $1,000. Probable cause has already been found by the judge of the court with a total of $6,000. Hang on. And he has conditions here which are no contact with the victim and not to return to the victim's residence. The other case that I have is a driving while license suspended with a bond of $500. We'll keep the bond at $500 with the only condition that you do not drive. And the public defender is appointed for both cases. All right, your name, please?
Alan LaShawn Stedman.
All right, sir, you are being held based on driving while license suspended with 2 prior convictions. Bond is set at $2,500. Court finds probable cause to support that charge. I'll also appoint the public defender as you've requested. You are currently out on bond on 2019 CF 006857.
Could I be heard on that?
Yes, you may.
No information's been filed. He was arrested on May 11th, 2019. So I would ask that you take no action.
State.
One second.
And that was
That-
September 6th. Let's go ahead.
Yes, that is correct, Your Honor. No information has been filed.
Okay. Court will take no action on the other case. You say your name, please?
Michael Richard Maselli.
All right, Mr. Maselli, you are being held based on a DUI driving under the influence. I did review the narrative here. There appears to be probable cause to support the charge. Bond is set at $500. Are you asking for a public defender to represent you?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Yes, sir.
I'll appoint the public defender to represent you, and that'll be it. Thank you, sir.
For PTR. Mr. Maselli would like to know if you would consider releasing him on his own recognizance.
No, ma'am.
Why is that?
Sir.
Why is that?
Your name, sir?
Andrew McGrath.
All right, Mr. McGrath, you are being held based on a moving traffic violation, but more specifically, knowingly driving while license suspended or revoked. Bond is set at $500. I reviewed the officer's narrative. There appears to be probable cause to support this charge. You're asking to be or for the public defender to represent you, sir? Do you want the public defender to represent you?
Sure.
Okay. So I'm going to need you to fill out the paperwork, which they'll provide to you, and I'll provisionally appoint the public defender to represent you.
Okay.
That'll be it. So we'll
What
keep
was
the
the
bond at
price?
$500.
Okay, thank you.
Is there,
Does,
And the condition being that you don't drive.
is it
of
just,
course.
sorry, Your Honor, is the 500 on the Dwellis?
I will ask.
I'm also showing that there's a possession of drug paraphernalia too.
Hang on, where do you see that?
This is Andrew McGrath, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Hang on, there might be a separate, where is it? This? This one right here?
It might be different affidavits because one's a CT and one's an ML.
Yeah, I have two different
Oh, I see it.
affidavits
I
here.
see it now. My trusty assistant here, help me out here. All right. You also have a drug equipment or possession charge, $500.
Would you consider setting that one at $100 since the other one's set at $500?
State would have no objection.
All right, that's fine.
150?
$100, and the court finds probable cause for that.
Okay. Yep.
I was gonna call you my trusty companion.
It's an FTA. Well, this is the bond.
You know my clerk, Lauren? We have a lot of fun sometimes. But she tries not to laugh at my jokes. All right, your name, sir?
Glenn Peters.
All right, Mr. Peters, I have a few cases here. I have a failure to appear and a warrant, outstanding warrant, and that's case number 2019 CT 339. There is a bond on that at $500. If you don't pay the $500, then you'll have the opportunity to appear before the judge with regard to that particular case. The next case I have is another failure to appear. Bond is set on that at $100, and that's case number 2019 CT 340. And again, you pay the $100, and/or you can wait to appear before the judge on that particular case. I will appoint the public defender as you've requested, and that'll be it.
All right, thank you.
Good luck to you.
Your Honor, Brittany Shane, am I saying that correctly?
Shine,
She bond, Brittany Bond.
she bonded, okay. All right, so we'll give that one to you. All right, your name, sir?
Miguel Villarreal Arcilla.
Okay. Sir, you're being held based on a DUI, driving under the influence. Bond is set at $500. I did review the officer's report. I do find probable cause to support the charge. Are you asking for a public defender to represent you?
I
Or do you
believe
want to
that my-
hire a private counsel?
I believe my family's hiring a private counselor.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and leave the bond at $500. And that'll be it. And if and when you do bond out, you'll be advised about when your court date's going to be, okay?
Okay, thank you, Your
All
Honor.
right, good luck to you.
You're good, yeah.
Your Honor, Donald Shelton, his behavior.
Okay, hang on a second. Okay, and that's the second behavior that I have. So, do you want to try it for a third, or
For Mr.
how'd you like to
Shelton?
handle that, Mr. Shelton?
I'm familiar with Mr. Shelton, our
Okay.
office is, so if we could waive his initial appearance, appoint the public defender.
Let's do that.
Okay, thank you.
So we'll appoint the public defender on Mr. Shelton. Yeah, we'll stay the bond.
Your Honor, Mr. Hamilton, James Hamilton.
Yes.
bonded.
Okay,
What's Shelton's, bond? Okay.
500 now. All right. Your name, sir?
Kirk Latang.
Okay. All right, so you are being held based on two charges, one battery with a bond set at $500, another one disorderly intoxication with a bond set at $100. I reviewed the narrative. Appears to be probable cause to support this charge, these charges. You've asked for the public defender. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. And that'll be it. And we'll stay the bonds at $600. Thank you, sir. Your name, sir? Or ma'am? Sorry.
Olivia.
I didn't look up.
Olivia Scott.
Okay. Olivia Scott. All right. Ma'am, you're being charged with petite theft. And bond is set at $250. Court does find probable cause to support the charge. You're asking for the public defender, right? You want the public defender to represent you?
Do you want an attorney?
Do you want an attorney?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you in this charge. You're a student?
Yes.
High
Yes,
school?
sir. College, my last semester of college, senior year.
All right. I don't see any history here at all. Does anybody have any objection to straight PTR?
Does she qualify? It says no on the face sheet, and if she doesn't qualify, I'd ask that she be released on recognizance, given that she has no history.
Why does she not qualify?
I have no idea.
She was not interviewed at that time.
I'd ask that you interview her. Can you do that?
Yes.
All
Can
right.
we get, PTR or bond?
Excuse me?
Can we get PTR or bond?
Yeah, we'll do PTR or bond of $250, okay? So ma'am, that means, they'll explain to you what it means, okay? It's a good thing for you. And the court, again, the court took into consideration no history.
Yes.
All right, your name, sir? Your name? Mr. Amrick, A-M-R-I-C-K Singh?
Yes.
Okay. So, sir, you've been charged with providing false ID to a law enforcement officer. The bond set on that at $500. You've asked for a public defender. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. There's also a separate, isn't there a separate charge here? Yeah, there's a separate charge, and that's urinating or defecating in public with a bond at $250. I will appoint the public defender on both charges, and I will find probable cause on both of those. All right? That's it. Thank you, sir. Your name, please?
Nancy Duckworth.
Your Honor, Frankie Anderson bonded,
Okay, thank you.
and Noel Bermudez.
Okay, Noel bonded?
Yes, Noel bonded.
Okay. All right, Ms. Duckworth, it appears that there's an out-of-county warrant,
Yes, sir.
and it shows that the warrant's for Polk County.
Right?
So we're going to advise Polk County that you're in custody, and they'll have 72 hours in which to transport you.
Okay.
We also have an out-of-county warrant. Well, that's actually, is that a separate one? No, it's the same one. Okay, so that'll be it. Thank you, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
What's going on with that? Your name, sir?
Joshua Gaskins.
All right, Mr. Gaskins, you're being held based on 1, 2, 3, 4 out-of-county warrants. Those warrants are out of Lake County, and they do carry bonds with them. So the first one is $50,000, the second one is $25,000, third one is $2,000, and the fourth one is $2,000. We're going to advise Lake County that you are in custody, and they will have the opportunity to transport you within 72 hours.
Yes,
Thank you, sir. Your name, sir?
Sean McCormick.
All right, did we have Mr. Camps refuse again?
Your Honor, our office represents him on another case right now, so if we could
Uh-huh.
just waive his initial appearance and set bonds in his case if they haven't already been set.
That's fine. So it looks like the bonds were actually set at $3,500 for the burglary, $150 for the grand theft. So we'll set that and appoint the public defender on that. Now we have Sean McCormick.
Yes, sir.
All right. All right, sir, so you are being held based on a violation of probation. And this is pursuant to an order of the court. The judge has ordered no bond. So you will be held until you appear before the presiding judge with regard to the violation of probation. Further, you've asked for the public defender's office to represent you, and I will appoint those attorneys to represent you. Thank you, sir.
You'll see.
Do we have a Vianette Lara?
Your Honor, she bonded.
Okay. And do we have a Bonnie Lee?
I didn't have that.
I did, yeah.
Maybe she bonded.
I have a, I'll tell you the number, the 1902-8591. 8591. Bonded. Great. Is there anybody else? Thank you. We'll go off the record. What now? Bonded. Lashana Tova.